Hello, welcome to the Self-Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Unit 24, Boundaries and Boundary Maintenance. And our topic is Frederick Barth, Ethnic Group and Boundaries. Before I delve any further on the notion of manipulation and instrumentalities of maintaining ethnic group boundaries, it is essential to repeat some of assertions made in the seminal essay by Barth. To begin with, the definition of ethnic group as given by Narol and described as an ideal type definition that essentially reviews ethnic group being viewed as race or culture is equal to language is equal to society is repeated. Ethnic group is largely biologically self-perpetuating, primordial, shares fundamental cultural values, realizing in overt unity in cultural forms, make up a field of communication and interaction, has a membership which identifies itself and is identified by others, as constituting a category distinguishable from other categories of the same order. Barth's discomfort with this definition emanates from his position that it allows us to assume that boundary maintenance is unproblematic and follows from the isolation which the itemized characteristics imply: racial difference, cultural difference, social separation, and language barriers, and spontaneous and organized enmity. Elucidating his point of view, Barth further asserts in the same paragraph: this also limits the range of factors that we use to explain cultural diversity, as we led to imagine each group developing its culture and social form in relative isolation, mainly in response to local ecologic factor, through a history of adaptation by invention and selective borrowing. This history has produced world of separate peoples, each with their culture and each organized in a society which can legitimately be isolated for description as an island itself. Barth in his analysis prefers to look at sharing of these important attributes not for being primacy or definitional attribute, but as implied or resultant. These attributes may be examined as repositories for reinventing oneself and not necessarily as morphological attributes for establishing group identities within contained geographical spaces. People may move away, yet retain some, if not all, of their core cultural attributes. They may also live at the same place but modify some of their cultural traits for ecological adjustments or for social adaptation without allowing their sense of belonging to their specific cultural group being invaded in any form. In Barth's own terms, It is thus inadequate to regard overt institutional forms as constituting the cultural features which at any time distinguish ethnic groups. These overt forms are determined by ecology as well as by transmitted culture. Nor can it be claimed that every such diversification within a group represents a first step in the direction of subdivision and multiplication of units. We have also known documented cases of one ethnic group, also at the relatively simple level of economic organization, occupying several different ecological niches and yet retaining basic culture and ethnic unity over long periods. Inland and coastal Chuki or reindeer, river and coast labs. After asserting importance of retaining cultural features and their importance as building blocks of identity formation within ethnic groups, Barth highlights the most critical feature of ethnic group formation, the fact of ascription. Now let us move to the next point, ascription as the critical factor. Ethnic groups are recognized as status categories. Within these categories, it is crucial that members of these groups ascribe themselves to these formations and their membership is so recognized by others. Processes of interaction are thus determined by this concept of belongingness, which is not only attributed by the self to the group but is also recognized by the others. Denial of this ascription is problematic for the survival of the individual in a group and that of group in any inter-ethnic situation. Cultural emblems like dress, dialect, symbols play a significant role in assertion of ascription, emphasizing the criteria of ascription. Barth states, when defined as an ascriptive and exclusive group, the nature of continuity of ethnic unit is clear. It depends on the maintenance of a boundary. The cultural features that signal the boundary may change, and the cultural characteristics of the members may likewise be transformed. Indeed, even the organization, formation, the group may change, yet the fact of continuing dichotomization between members and outsiders allows us to specify the nature of continuity and investigate the changing cultural form and context. It is actually this cultural stuff that outlines distinctiveness and sustains differentiation. In Jenkins' words, in insisting that there is no simple equation between seamless tapestry of the cultural variation and the discontinuities of ethnic differentiation, it prevents us from mistaking the morphological enumeration of cultural traits for the analysis of the ethnicity. However, this argument might also be constructed as suggesting that the cultural stuff out of which that differentiation is arbitrarily socially constructed is somehow irrelevant. And this surely cannot be true. For example, a situation in which as and A and B are distinguished inter alia by languages that are mutually intangible for most everyday purposes, as with Danish and Norwegian. These are the communities that Jenkins was analyzing for constructing his model of ethnicity, would seem to differ greatly from one in which the languages involved are, as with English and Welsh, utterly different. One may infer then that in polytechnic society, every ethnic group draws boundaries using its cultural stuff as critical in maintaining these cultural, often political and economic categories. Yet one need not forget that boundaries may persist even when there is little cultural differentiation. As Solers would put it, the cultural content of ethnicity, the stuff which bars boundaries and clues, is largely interchangeable and rarely historically authenticated. Now let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with a self-learning podcast.